What's up, everybody? This is Cinemana. We are back, and this is the official episode 1 of season 3, remote edition. And we
Hey,
have
everybody. How's it
Ellison
going?
here.
Hi, everyone from Richmond, and no longer coming from San Jose, Nick's couch.
Yeah, the couch has been used and abused quite a few times.
Yeah. Oh,
in a Cinemana way, and it's too small for other aspects.
hold on. I got a little echo here. Never mind. All right, cool.
Echo. Yeah. So Richmond, East Bay, not Virginia.
That's right. Not Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, East Bay, man. I didn't move that far.
This will probably be a bit of a short one. Both of us have been pretty busy. I got some movies in me. Ellison's got a movie in him. A couple streaming stuff.
Yeah.
So
I've been doing the family man stuff, and haven't been to the theaters that much. But hoping to change that. Oh man, hoping to change that. But I have been watching some shows. I have been reading up on news. Stuff about the strike.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too for sure.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, for
also,
sure.
shout out to Billy Byra back in New York City, who is unable to join us because he is striking and can't talk about movies. So
yeah,
publicly.
Good. All right. Yeah, I totally support that.
Yeah. So hope you're doing good, Billy, if you're watching at some point.
Yeah, man. Man.
So
drop us some comments if you can.
Yeah. So I guess we'll segue into this. So I tried to do the double feature of the Oppenheimer and Barbie, and I'm just going to admit it out loud right now that I walked out halfway through Barbie because I was going to fall asleep in my chair. So I got halfway through. Apparently you watched it with your girlfriend Hannah, and you guys enjoyed it.
Yes. Well, she was a harsh critic. She was a lot harsher than I was, honestly. Like I gave it a few passes on a couple of things, and she was being very, very harsh with their political stance. She felt like they were shoving it too much into people's faces, and I kind of understood that. There was a lot of subtext that they try to fit in there, which I understood. I get that. And I think they were trying to shoehorn way too much when people were expecting it to be a funny popcorn movie, right. With a couple of laughs and stuff like that, but not as political as it got near the third act. Yeah. So she didn't like that. She picked up on it, and she had some harsh criticisms about it.
Yeah, I think the on the nose thing, I think it was definitely on purpose, right? I mean, at least the half I got, like I kind of got where they were going with it right away, and but they certainly didn't market it that way. I don't think so.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It was kind of an okie doke. They played an okie doke on you, like they led you down this path, and then it's just like, no, it's this.
Yeah. It's a Mattel movie, right?
It is Mattel.
Yeah. So they obviously want to keep their image like at least above water, right? To sell stuff. So, and I've definitely seen a bunch of Barbie shit all over the place now. So
right, and that's the thing, because it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because they're okay with making fun of themselves to a certain degree, right? To a certain level of things, but not so much to where they're over criticizing, because at the end of the day, they don't want to go out of business. So they kind of do want to sell their Barbies, but they feel that they need to approach it in a much more inclusive and modern way, which I get. So I understood the political undertones, political/corporate undertones behind it, because there's money involved. Business doesn't want to go down, and basically this movie is a big promotional ad for them. So I kind of understood that they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. So I knew going in that they're going to be they're going to be self-preserving to a certain extent. So, and that was fine. There are some people that love Barbie. There's some people that grew up with it and they have their own memories about it. Yeah. So that's cool. I think that they should have, in my personal opinion, I think that they should have stayed with the fun aspect of things and making fun of themselves and maybe being a little meta, which they were about it. But yeah, there was some political stuff in there that I was just like, and it hit me because when I was in the theater with my girlfriend and we were watching it, I looked over and I would look over to like some of the audience members, and there were a lot of families there. There were a lot of people bringing their daughters and stuff, and they were young.
Yeah.
So a lot of the in your face, down with the patriarchy, political undertones were a bit much for the crowd. So I don't think they understood their audience.
Right.
And I think that's a big fail on their part. Like, okay, well, who is this really for? Like, I don't think they really calculated their demographic. Mm-hmm. And I think if they honestly took a very, very sharp and accurate look at that, it would have been a different movie. They probably would have written it differently.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like for adults, and I got it. I got the patriarchy stuff. My girlfriend understood it, and she really didn't like it. It was just like, we could do without this kind of stuff. It should have just been a fun, ironic, sarcastic, meta type movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can see that point. I'm not like, I don't want to be like a contrarian. I think it might have been, I understand what you're saying, but maybe like what they're thinking, or at least Greta Gerwig, right, man? It looks like she had a lot of creative autonomy on it. So maybe as a vehicle for pushing that message, which I think is, to me, it's a strong message. And something I agree with a lot of, maybe not too like on the nose as they did, but specifically about like certain aspects of it that are both harmful to women and men. And basically the representation of the Kens being just like, like at the service of the patriarchy, because they're so in all the infighting they do to get the attentions of the Barbies. It's really on the nose, like maybe over the top, but it definitely hits home at certain aspects.
I got that. However, this is my question that I'm going to pose. And that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
For one, I'm not negating the fact that it's okay to talk about that subject. I'm not saying that it's a bad subject to talk about and we shouldn't touch it. I'm not saying that, so don't get that confused.
No, I'm not. No.
However, this is my point. She could have done that with another movie.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Not this movie. She could have done that with another movie.
But would have had reached the amount of people it did.
Understand? True, but understanding the demographic. Again, I'm going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Understanding who's watching this. Who is this for? It's precisely, like very accurately, like who is this for? She could have gotten that message done with another movie. Shit, I lost my other point. This is what it was. With the whole thing with the Kens and all of that, and I understand where it's coming from, and it was coming from this fad that we've seen lately with the alpha male movement, red pill shit, Andrew Tate, like that kind of world where it's kind of toxic, and you have a bunch of Chads kind of, chest pumping themselves, like, that kind of shit.
Top Gun Maverick,
which is fairly recent, in the social media sphere. So I understand that it's hurt, not just her, but it's a critique on that. So I understood that. However, the audience that went to go see Barbie, it's like a lot of them are just it's you have families going
Or if
to
they
see
marketed
that.
it differently, maybe that might be more like understandable.
Market it right, market
Yeah.
it differently. But again, I'm like, man, there are families going to see this.
It's
Do they?
almost like a bait, like I said, bait and switch, right? Like,
It
hey,
is a
here's
bait,
this.
right?
Yeah.
It is a bait and switch because they're going there to see a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
They're not going there to have these heavy discussions.
And it reflects in the box office too, like how outshined Oppenheimer in
Right,
terms of opening weekend, and I think
right.
it still has more. So
Ultimately, it's still a
sorry,
great
let me
movie.
check.
It's still good. I just don't agree with that. And to be honest, even if they took the whole Ken aspect out of it, it
Mm-hmm.
still would have been a great movie. It doesn't make it or break it,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Yeah. So we're gonna hear Super Mario Brothers 574 million domestic. Barbie
Mm-hmm.
at 551. Oppenheimer is down at 277. So clearly, um, yeah,
Well,
I think you're definitely correct in that people taking their families and their
that's why.
kids. And, yeah,
Because the range, the demographic, the fan base is
mhm,
huge. Who didn't
yeah.
grow up with a Barbie? Barbie's been in business for good grief. I mean,
I mean, even if you
regardless,
didn't grow up with a Barbie, you knew what Barbie was because
you knew what Barbie was. It's one
yeah,
of the biggest
yeah.
intellectual properties in the world.
Hmm.
And it's been around for what, 70 years now? It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's
it's
it's, it's
nuts.
just as big as Batman.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, it is the Batman for like girls and other people who like that growing up, and
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So
So that's why. And it's the first movie. It's a first Barbie movie,
is it?
you know? Yeah, I don't think there hasn't been another
I mean,
Barbie
maybe some
movie.
animated stuff, right? I don't know.
Yeah, there might be some animated stuff.
It's just that
But
blows my mind. I would have thought that they would have like maybe. Oh yeah, there's
this is the
definitely
this is the
animated Barbie
second.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the only other instance where I remember Barbie being in the big screen is in Toy Story.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really
Okay.
it. I mean, nothing other than that.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of animated films. There's 16. But I think this is the first live action.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so it's funny. I saw just a real quick meme. It was like meme like people dressed as Barbie, and it's like, oh, all the girls who were dressed as Wednesday Addams last year for Halloween. It's like now they're Barbie. So,
Just a big shift.
and like we had Top Gun dudes. Now we're gonna have like Ken dudes for Halloween. So I mean,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
that's how pop culture works. But
Yeah,
so.
yeah, the trends, man. I saw a sweater that said Kenuff.
Am I enough?
Did you see the Kenuff sweaters?
No,
Yeah, there's a Kenuff, like,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's like are they enough? Like it makes
Right,
no sense.
exactly.
There was a
exactly.
cool like a really like niche joke where she's like, I'm not a fascist, I don't control the railways. It's like it goes back to like Benito Mussolini and like fascist
Right,
Italy and stuff.
right,
So yeah, I
exactly.
guess like stuff like that. It's like really like like to most people.
Right, right, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. It's a bit of
I
a.
agree there. Yeah, I agree with you there.
It's right, and I noticed these little things. These are little nuances. I mean, for most people, they're not going to notice it. I notice all these little details, So I'm looking at a movie critically from a different perspective, and
Of course.
that's what I came away with. I'm like, I don't think they understood their audience.
Yeah.
I think that they failed on that. So,
Right.
like if I was directing a Barbie movie, I would just make it fun. I would just make it fun, funny, a little bit of excitement and some action in there. But I'm not going to be thinking like, hey, I know kids are going to come to this. I know families are going to come to this. I'm not going to stuff political shit into there. Like, no, that's too much. But
It's a little bit like of an indoctrination, I guess, no matter what the message is, right? So
a little, yeah, a little bit,
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
because
So
you're trying to, even though it doesn't like it could be right, left, center, whatever. If you're just hammering it home to like children, it's a little bit much. So
it's not needed. It would have been
yeah,
a great movie without it, to be
yeah.
honest.
Or if
So
they like marketed it differently and said, hey, this is what this is. But
right, right.
perhaps we'll see. I guess what Greta does in the future. I want to see who wrote this stuff. It was.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, let's see.
You're on IMDb right now, so I think you can get that going.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I mean, it was Greta. It was
Did she
certainly
write
Greta
it?
and Noah.
Oh,
Noah
Baumbach.
Baumbach. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done
Um,
a bunch of stuff. So,
yeah, he's got a couple of things under his belt. Let's see
well,
here.
Marriage Story was great, so he did that. Love that movie.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yep, that was
That's
pretty
another
good too.
one. But yeah, Francis Ha, that's an old Greta film,
Right.
which is really good.
He's done a couple of things with
Yeah.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Interesting. So we'll see.
He did Madagascar 3. That's interesting.
Let's see what she's got in the pipeline here, huh? No, this is what we do, guys. We take a pause, we look shit up.
Part of the process.
It's part of the process. Oh, what they have any? Oh, it's acting credits. Okay, yeah. Snow White is next, but writer. Interesting.
Huh. Okay.
We'll see if there's a thought of political undertones there, or overtones, as we should say, in this aspect.
Yeah, there's certainly overtones. I'll tell you that. She's not subtle.
No, and neither is Christopher Nolan in terms of his movies. So
okay, well, let's segue into that.
Yeah, so Oppenheimer, man. Oppenheimer is I guess you could say it's sort of a bioepic pick, right? Because it's just, I think it's too long. It's just too goddamn long for me. So the first half, really great. Like it dives right in to his backstory. He starts without going into too many spoilers, and I haven't seen it, but he starts at his time in college in Europe, and it just goes over the years until he gets to the Manhattan Project and gets recruited from it out of I think he was at Berkeley. It's in the movie. He stays at Berkeley teaching, starting a quantum physics department. Has like one student. It's his only student, and it builds and builds because of reputation. But a lot of really, I mean, who did the music? It's the guy who does all of Childish Gambino stuff.
Oh,
so Ludwig
Childish Gambino. Yeah, so that's Ludwig
Göransson. Yeah,
that's Ludwig Göransson. And actually, fun fact, he also did the score for The Mandalorian.
Yes, yeah, he's great, man. He's got a huge range. I love his work. Yeah, all the stuff he's done with Donald Glover, and then the movies so far. He's already gotten an award he's already got an Academy Award. So so
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah,
but
the guy's solid, man.
The soundtrack is amazing, and the special effects are just phenomenal. I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. He's not going to fuck around there. Basically the movie all up until the bomb detonates, and that scene where it detonates is probably one of the best cinematic scenes of all time, in my opinion. At this point,
so let me get this straight. So he actually detonated a nuke, right?
There's no CG. It's not a nuke, but it is a big fucking bomb that he detonated. That's for sure. Ordnance on that movie was great. So
no shit.
Yeah, they really got that down. I mean, I've never seen an explosion in real life, but it looked pretty cool. So, but the way the use of sound, like any Nolan film, is just on point, and it just it cuts all sound. I'm pretty sure. I was telling you, I thought there might be some ambience, but looking back in my brain, I don't think there was. I think it just cuts silent, and so Josh Peck is the guy at the thing, and he's shaking because he doesn't want to hit it early. He's sweating, and then it launches. It drops, right, and then as it does that, it just silence for a good 10 seconds at least, maybe more.
So what do you see? If you don't hear anything, what do you see?
You see the explosion. You see the mushroom cloud go up. You see the flash. You see the reflection of the flashes in the people's goggles they're wearing. You see their reactions to the flash. A lot of the people, in real life, are lying down facing away, and in the movie they say don't look until you see the flash go beyond the hills in front of you or something like that, and then they can turn around and they have these little paper things that they I'm not sure they're paper, but there's something that blocks the the light from all that, so they can look at it. So half of them are wearing goggles, and the other half are using these, makeshift things. And then, they turn around, and then after they turn around, they're watching it, and that's when you get boom, this insane rumble, and masterful sound use there, and then that's when all the sound comes back, all the ambient sound, all the diegetic and non-diegetic and all that stuff just hits you again.
No
When
shit.
people are just like, their minds are blown because they just saw like the first successful
Unintended.
nuclear. Yeah, it was very, very intended there. You got a good catch. Yeah.
Okay.
And like both times I saw it in theaters, the theater was quiet. It was packed and quiet the entire that scene. So it's like it reaffirmed my belief in audiences that they could still like be sophisticated and watch a film without fucking making noise.
Yeah.
And it quite literally takes your breath away, man. Like, especially like the second time going in, I was like, okay, I'm looking at, like, I know this is like, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like you can breathe again once you hear the noise, and it's like, fuck, it's
No
fantastic.
shit.
It's kind of like on par with that scene in Interstellar, like when he goes into the black hole. I mean, it's like this, that's cinematic. Like, I mean, that whole movie is amazing in terms of that aspect, but that big scene that Nolan usually has in his films like that. So it was that was great. But after that, the pacing goes off, and like it started with this weird cut. So Oppenheimer has this little code like to his wife called "bring," like if it goes well, I'll tell you bring the sheets in, because it's on the clotheslines outside and stuff. And he calls her. It's like everything's like swelling up, and then it just like he does that, and then it's supposed to be like, to me, the way the transition goes, it should have been a hard cut, because it's like this totally different atmosphere of a scene. It just changes the entire feel of it. It goes into a much softer, quieter scene than all this huge buildup. And what they did is they used a long fade, and I was just like, no, it needs to be like emotional. It needs to be like, we're hard cutting here because this is a hard cut on emotion. Like, bam. And it just faded out and then faded in. I'm like, okay. And then after that, the pacing was just, to me, off.
Interesting.
And I thought it could, because it goes into the fallout, right, of his quote unquote supposed being a Russian spy and whatnot, which I guess was mostly fabricated by RDJ's character, Colonel Strauss. I forget his first name. And it goes back into, I guess he got his ego kind of bruised after a conversation Oppenheimer has with Einstein that you don't hear. He doesn't hear it, but Einstein walks past him and he doesn't even acknowledge him. So he thinks that Oppenheimer said something to him about him, just assuming. And he just kind of like gets it in his mind. His mind becomes infested, and he kind of goes after Oppenheimer because of that.
Oh, he's a hater.
Yeah, but you don't really get too much exposition on his character or why he would think that, or why he would even go after that in that certain way. It just kind of like goes into like all the interviews, and Colonel Strauss, his character, is being confirmed by the Senate for a cabinet position in Truman's cabinet, and so like it goes through all that. You don't really know like why he's got all these reservations, or why his ego is so easily bruised. I thought they could use more exposition on that, and the pacing was just a little bit off. You definitely feel the runtime after that first like hour and a half. The first hour and a half it goes quick, and then like after that it's like it's kind of slow.
Interesting.
But I mean, I give it an A-. It's not like it didn't take away too much. It was good, but you definitely feel it at the end. I did, however, really like the way Nolan used color in black and white. So black and white, normally in films, it's like, oh, this is the past, right? In that movie, the black and white's the present, or at least the present in the film. And then all the color stuff is the past on all the backstory, which I thought was pretty neat.
There might be some undertones there. That's interesting. It's very interesting.
And then cast-wise, huge ensemble. I mean, you have people like Rami Malek, who, people who would get their own roles in leading roles in films, big films, and like come in and do these bit parts.
Listen, when you become an auteur filmmaker,
you answer it.
you're gonna you're gonna have people as a director. I mean, Chris Nolan is an auteur, of his generation right now. So you're going to have people, A-listers, lining up that you don't even have to ask. I mean, you're going to have people just on board, like, hey, man, I'm whatever. I'll play an extra. Like Brad Pitt will be an extra on his film. Like, that's how it is. So I get that.
Yeah. So I guess the way he sent the scripts out, it was on red paper with black ink. And I guess it's supposed to like make you forget what you read. I don't know the psychology behind it, but there was yeah, it's what like so Robert Downey Jr. said that on like a little kind of like a roundtable they did with Nolan and some of the actors.
Yeah.
He was saying that's I guess his opinion of it, but
how the hell that doesn't?
And it was written in first person, which to me is like ridiculous. Like, come on, dude. Like it's all instead of like Oppenheimer goes there, it says I go there, or I fuck her, or like I do this and do that. Yeah. I'll try to find some script examples, but yeah, the entire script is written in the first person of Oppenheimer, which I thought was a little bit
narrated
ridiculous.
At all?
No. I mean, it has some voiceover, but it's not narrated. So sometimes it has like I have become death, destroyer of worlds. Like he says that in a voiceover.
The famous phrase. Yeah, that's right.
Which so that aspect to me is interesting. I don't understand. To me, it would be hard to read. I wouldn't understand how to read a script like that.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I think it gives you a different. It gives you a different perspective for sure, but as a script, yeah, that's kind of Especially when you have other parts, it's hard for me to visualize that.
I'm just trying to see if I can find an example here. Not really.
But yeah, I was gonna say that
Billy sent me something. Yeah.
RDJ sounds like Salieri from
yeah, I mean, yeah, but not more like it's more like I think he's just kind of like egotistical douchebag. And
Salieri.
Yeah, but Salieri was more creative and like, oh, this guy is a genius and I can't create. It's not like Strauss wasn't an engineer or anything. He wasn't like a scientist. He was a colonel who went into politics and was going to be on Truman's cabinet. So I can see what you mean, but it's like I think Salieri and Amadeus is much more like just longing to create and then being subverted by this just like absolute genius, and you're like, wow, what do I even do? Like,
right?
I can't see,
Okay.
Great movie. I got to watch that with Kat soon. So.
It is. It is an oldie and a goodie.
Yeah, I got the director's cut, which is like a 3-hour version. It's amazing. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I give Oppenheimer an A- just for some of the pacing, it being super long, and I think they could have gone into more exposition on characters. But in terms of like special effects,
a portrait. This is like a portrait.
It is
one man.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like in the latter half, it's not a whole it's too much going on. I think in the latter half, and there's not enough like they could have cut some of that out and focused on like certain aspects. I have to watch it for a third time to really hammer home like what I'm thinking on that aspect. But
and I'm sure that this is the goal of the film. It's to evaluate, right? Should I say explore the consequences of a man that created something like a major thing that changed the course of history, right? And the weight of that.
It definitely goes into that 100%.
Okay.
There's a lot of like not hallucinations, but like almost like PTSD flashbacks, but are happening in like real time to him, where he's seeing he'll see like there's a scene where he's getting cheered on and thanked in front of a group of people like at the camp where he was doing it, and he's kind of like seeing a flash, and then like people disappearing and vaporizing, and then like stepping into a body with ash, like coated in ash, and like stepping into it and hearing screams and realizing like the implications of what he's done. It's like he's doing it for this scientific reason, and also because it's like, well, like the whole thing was if the Germans get it first, we're fucked, right? So that's kind of like, he was doing it from a practical scientific standpoint, and then he's going into the humanist aspect afterwards and going, okay, what did I do?
Right. Yeah. Right. Like he created the world's greatest weapon.
Yeah. And so there's this like famous line, it's already like famous at the end of it, where like you could actually hear the conversation they had, and why Einstein didn't say anything to Strauss is I think Oppenheimer says, remember when I said that I think that something about humanity destroying itself or creating something that would end the world? And then Einstein's like, well, what happened? He's like, I believe we did. And then Einstein's like, oh, okay, this is pretty fucked. And he's just like having this existential dread, and he just walks past him because he's like thinking about what he said, not because he didn't see the guy or hear him. It's like he literally just tunnel visioned past him because of what he was thinking about. So
right,
he quite literally like learned the gravity of like what he was doing. And I think that's kind of like part of the message that Nolan but like what's the message? Like, is it's there's still no definitive opinion, because I guess there really is never going to be one. I mean, you can argue the ethical issues all you want, but you can also argue the scientific and on paper issues that you could say as well, like what would have happened otherwise. So.
And my friend, that is the entire point of him creating the film, to start a discussion.
Yeah.
And I think in the bigger picture, in the bigger scheme of things, and this is something that I've been kind of piecing together from like conversations I've had with other friends and what I've been kind of reading and stuff like that, is that I think Nolan is trying to say something about how humans and technology, and whether or not we know what the fuck we're doing. Right? So it can be a correlation. The atomic bomb can be a correlation to AI right now, right? And how that's kind of taking a mind of its own, right? So we've kind of opened Pandora's box. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a correlation between those two. Oppenheimer opened Pandora's box and creating this new technology, this new weapon, and who knows what we're going to do with it, which probably equates to modern times of what we're doing now with AI. We've opened this Pandora's box, but as humans go, it's a tool. Whether or not we use it in a correct way is a whole different story.
So I got the quote kind of right here. So Einstein's basically talking about like starting a chain reaction. Oppenheimer, it's like this article here by Vanity Fair. Oppenheimer asks Einstein if he recalls when they worried a chain reaction from the bomb might destroy the world, because they were worried about a scientific chain reaction.
That's right. I heard about that. Yeah.
And so Einstein, and then Oppenheimer basically says, I believe we did, but that's in a more metaphorical aspect, because it started a chain reaction of nuclear proliferation and
the weapons. Cold War.
Yeah. I mean, that quite literally starts right then. So
right. Cold War. It's just arms.
I mean, and honestly, it was already going before the war ended, because they're both researching nuclear technology and building bombs or researching bombs. So interesting that they were more worried about the Germans getting bombs than they were the Russians. But
it's a different time. The Russians were our allies during that time.
Yeah, I mean.
They were fighting the Germans. So.
They were certainly worried about that, because, like I said, the Fallout deals with, I guess it's mostly fabricated by Strauss, and then they had all these people on his side, and he basically just ostracized Oppenheimer for a bit, but basically used that ego bruising to say, oh, well, this guy's a Russian colluder, and he's sharing secrets, and he's doing that. So quite literally after the war ended, they're like, okay, Russia's next, like, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
because
I mean that was the next biggest superpower that we weren't really in line with, and then on top of that, there was a political. I mean, we're talking about communism and all of that, and kind of getting into the weeds about that kind of stuff, which was a big threat to capitalism because it's like, oh well, if the world sees that communism actually works, then we're fucking screwed. That whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, man. I mean, no, I understand that. Like, Germany was the big baddie at that time. So, we kind of had to work with.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they
our frenemies
kind of fucked over a lot of fucking people and invaded a lot of people. And there's also a good show I started and then haven't really come back to yet, but it's called Manhattan, and it came out in 2014 to 2015, and it's kind of like doesn't really have much to do with Oppenheimer himself. He's kind of like a background character that people talk about and whisper about, but it's more about like the little guys in the camp who are doing these things, which is interesting. I think it's on well, it says Tubi, but I forgot where I was watching it. Maybe like AMC Plus or something. Which is interesting to check out. So I thought it was I think algorithm, right? It was like, hey, watch this. So
right, close enough.
yeah. So that's kind of what I have to say about Oppenheimer.
Cool.
Another movie I watched was Indiana Jones.
Please tell me about that. That's another one on my list.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We had, I am forgetting her fucking name because my short-term memory is fucked, and I'm also coming off of food poisoning yesterday, guys. So I apologize.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's tough, man.
My brain's a little bit electrolyte deficient, so that's why I got my Gatorade Light. I got 4 drinks going on. I got my Red Bull, my water, my Gator Light Zero is what I'm drinking, and then my magical potion here. So
I know what that is.
Yeah. So yeah, Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, and fuck, what's her name right here? Yeah. Oh yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, right? So Fleabag and the droid from Solo, which I forget. So that was much better than Crystal Skull, like hands down.
Was it?
Oh yeah, I mean honestly, it was more Spielbergy than that movie. So like to me, it captured like the essence of that old Hollywood adventure film, where you're just going in and having a good time, and it's good action, good story.
Thank God.
Yeah, and they write off Shia LaBeouf's character.
Great.
He died in Nam.
Fantastic. Okay.
So they dealt with that real quick. They're like, all right,
it's a little messed up. But he was an annoying character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also he had a bit of a cancel streak there, right? Because he went crazy for a bit. So hopefully he's getting his shit together. I mean, it's not like looking at Ezra Miller, if he can stick with his movie, I think Shia can come back and maybe redeem himself a little bit.
Man.
But Karen Allen comes back, and from the originals,
I heard
they kind of get together again at the end, and because they divorced because of the death of their son and all that. So there was a big issue there. But so Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays like kind of like the goddaughter of Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. And she is daughter of Basil Shaw, who is, an older friends of Indy.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people came back. John Rhys Davies.
No, Basil Shaw. Basil was.
He got killed, I think. Right. So, at least in the movie, he's dead. So I know that.
Okay. All right. No. Okay.
And it looks like they used Anthony Ingruber, who has done a young Harrison Ford before, and I think they used him as his body double, maybe for the young stuff, because they do de-age him. They go back to like the Nazi era. What is that, like Temple of Doom? I don't know.
That's not the Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom. Actually, it's Temple of Doom comes before
first, and then Lost Ark is at. So yeah, Raiders era, and John Rhys Davies comes back, which is cool. Gimli,
that's fantastic. Yeah, Gimli. And
Mads Mikkelsen is always good. His the character was kind of like a little bit cartoonish, but hey, it's like Indiana Jones. What are you gonna do?
Does he play a Russian villain? I'm guessing.
No, he plays. I think he plays a Nazi. There are Nazis that he was working for. He was looking for the dial in like that era, and then they had an encounter, and then Tobias Shaw, Basil Shaw, fucking hitting the blank. His name's Toby. That's why I was like, Tobias? No. So Basil Shaw gets the dial, and then Mads Mikkelsen's character is looking for it this whole time. Phoebe Waller-Bridge finds like the other half of it in archives at the university, and blah blah blah. And they go on this adventure, and basically there's a little bit of time travel, but it's done pretty well.
Wait, there's time travel?
Yeah.
Like not flashback, right?
No, but time travel. Yeah. So like I called it, man. I was like, this is gonna be a time travel movie, right? So
no fucking way.
Yeah, but see, I called it differently. Remember, like in the trailers, it looks like they're gonna go back in time and see young Indy, but no, that's the flashback. And then the time travels like they go to like ancient Greece or something and meet with some old scientists. I can't remember. I only saw it once, and my brain is shitty. So
really, they Back to the Future this thing?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Huh.
So, but it was good. Like basically, what I'm getting at is it was a fun old Hollywood type movie that to me proves that they could still be made, and it's like you don't always need these big,
as it should be,
big blockbustery type deals where it's or like big artistic type message movies where everything has to have a message. It's like no, it's just a fun.
It's a fun. So it went back to its roots.
It did.
And that's
what
everybody. Did. That's what everybody originally. Yeah. I mean, that's why I fell in love with the Jones series. I mean, when I saw Raiders, I saw Temple of Doom, I saw The Last Crusade. I mean, I was a fan, man. Yeah. I was a legit fan. I loved all those movies because of the adventure, and not for nothing. It actually made me more interested in history than I was before, because I was like, oh shit, these are cool little things. And there's this badass archaeologist, and he's cool, and he has this whip, and he's in the pyramids, and he's finding all this cool stuff. And then there's danger, and there's booby traps, and I mean, come on, what kid is not gonna love that stuff, man?
Well, I mean, and that's like what like Spielberg grew up on, like those old serials, and same with Lucas and whatnot. So
right, exactly. So the originators,
they made this character, and that's like I'm pretty sure like most archaeologists be like, yeah, Indiana Jones. Like, of course I watched that as a kid. It's like
exactly. It was,
and obviously it influences stuff like The Mummy and other adventure type movies. And
so I think it's great that they went back to that, because I mean, listen, man, this is a harsh critique of Spielberg, but I think he's lost it. I think he lost his spark, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that what worked previously is working for him now, because I'm looking at all of the stuff that he's done, recently, and more modern, specifically my harshest critique is the Crystal Skull. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Garbage. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I was thinking to myself, like, why? Like, this is Spielberg. He's a smart guy. Is he not in tune with what people want, or why the movies worked previously? Like, what is he not getting?
Well, I will say this though. Excuse me, I'm chewing, guys. The Meet the Fablemans was really great.
Okay, fair enough.
Or the Fablemans. I think it's called the Fablemans, or Meet the Fablemans.
Yeah, it's called the Fablemans. Not Meet the Fablemans.
I'm thinking Meet the Fockers. My brain
it's not Meet the Fablemans. It's the Fablemans.
My brain is fucked. It's all right though.
All good.
Stay in school, kids. But no, that was really good because it's an ode to his past and an ode to like a love for film, and also an ode to those adventure films that we were talking about, which influenced him to make Indiana Jones.
Right.
Well, I mean, George wrote the character, but the Spielberg bigness to it, the grandness and the adventureness and That was all pretty much realized by his
The
genius.
spectacle.
Yeah, the spectacle and like the old Hollywood, and plus that interaction with John Ford, and he's like, if it's above the horizon, it's interesting. If it's below the horizon, it's interesting. If it's at the horizon, it's shit. Now get the fuck out of my office.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
if you haven't
remember
seen
the
it, you should
first
watch
time.
it.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time he told that story. And this is years ago in an old interview. And he was talking about his childhood, and he loved the director John Ford, and he thought he was cool because he had this eye patch and all that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And then I remember him telling that story. So when I found out that it was actually a scene, I was like, oh, that's actually cool. And then I found out that David Lynch was playing John Ford. I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's great.
He does a great fucking job too. I mean, you can hardly tell it's him unless you know it's him. But
yeah.
So that movie's great, and to me, like, I loved it because I think any filmmaker is gonna love it because it's like, oh yeah, it's just like this is what we love. It's like this is like especially like people who like us who grew up on like older movies like that.
Okay, all right, well, fair enough. I think they did the right thing in handing it over to
James Mangold.
James Mangold. He's awesome. He's awesome. Yeah. The guy's been on a streak.
Ford versus Ferrari. Okay, great.
Yeah,
great fucking movie.
Logan was great. Walk the Line was great.
Yuma, Walk the Line.
Yeah, the dude's been on a crazy, like, it's just nothing but hits. If you look at it, it's just nothing.
He takes some years off between movies though. So
I mean, that's great because you need to kind of chill.
And if
you don't want to burn yourself, you don't want to burn yourself out. And I think the next big thing that he's working on, of course, you've heard about this, but he's doing a Star Wars movie.
Is he? I don't see this in his. I'm on fucking Wikipedia.
Oh no, dude, just look it up. He's doing, and check this out. He's doing Knights of the Old Republic, I think, or the High Republic. He's doing like the era of when the Jedi was at its peak.
Yeah, let's see. The Dawn of it's like the origin of Star Wars, upcoming Dawn of the Jedi. So I think that's
right.
So yeah, that's gonna be way long ago. Like
it's about 1,000 years. It's 1,000 years before.
No, because no.
No, honestly, I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's 1,000 years before the High Republic. I mean,
well, because Yoda was a trainer for almost 1,000 years, so he can't have been one of the first Jedi. Like that's not. No, it goes back. Let's see. I'm gonna look this up. Turning my mic off for a second.
All right, so I think I could be wrong, but the High Republic was 1,000 years BBY, and I think the start of the Jedi maybe it's around 3,000 years.
Okay, so there is a book or a series called Dawn of the Jedi, and according to Wikipedia, it's 25,793 BBY.
Oh, geez. Okay, that's way ahead. Okay.
So and then right here, so yeah, set 26,000 years before A New Hope.
Oh wow. Okay.
That comic run. So I think it's gonna be based on that, right? I would assume. If we're gonna be keeping canon, then we need to have.
Okay, fair enough. That makes
like the whole, like the Book of the Wills and stuff is like something that like Lucas put in as like something before the Jedi as well. Like the term Jedi like came after like the split of I think the Force and like Force users were like not split into Jedi and Sith at the beginning, and then they kind of branched off and they lost sight of. I think that's like the whole thing Luke talks about. It
gets a little trickier. Yeah.
I mean, it's all convoluted. The EU before Disney bought it, but
okay. So right. I mean, the only thing that makes sense to me is before Disney got it. That's what I always refer to. Right. So I do remember that the Sith never knew the Jedi existed. Very early on. The Sith were a race, and they were red-skinned race. And it was only out of interbreeding with humans that that race became kind of diluted, and they kind of phased out. Um, and they were kind of like the original Sith were kind of like what's the best
Well, I'm looking it up right now.
They were yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so like there's, I guess, canon and legends, but in the canon, it's saying that the Sith formed about 5,000 BBY who shared a name with a redskin species.
That's
so
correct.
Maybe they took that in the canon now from the legends. Let's look at legends here.
No, I don't know about that.
Well, yeah. Like, so there's canon and legends, right? And on Wikipedia, so canon is like after Disney bought the franchise, everything in the EU was put into this category called legends. They said this isn't canon anymore. We're starting your own thing. So the legends, it looks like what you're saying is, so like I'll share. I don't know. Should I send it to you? I'll give you a little Facebook message, and you can kind of take a look.
I know you could just drop it in the private chat right here.
Oh, there's a way to do that.
Yeah, if you look over on the private, it's a private chat right there.
Sorry, guys, we're learning. I don't see it, dude.
Okay.
Anyways, I sent it to you on Facebook. But yeah, there's two categories, right? So I think they kept that redskin species for the legends and like basically said, oh, we're basing our name off of it. But the legends, it looks like what you're talking about is how they interbred and they were a force sensitive. Yeah. It gets really convoluted after Disney bought everything.
No, so. All right. So yeah, that's why I don't even fuck legends. I don't give a shit. I'm always referring to pre-Disney.
You gotta respect the canon though, man. It's like
I'm always referring to the pre-Disney stuff. I'm always referring to the pre-Disney stuff. Fuck everything else, dude. This is what I spent a whole lot of time reading a bunch of fucking shit that was pre-Disney only to like relearn it. No, fuck that. Listen, they were the Sith, the original Sith, were all force sensitive. They were originally force sensitive, but they were very aggressive. They were like the Klingons. That's what I was gonna say. So the Klingons are like very tough, war-based, kind of species. That's essentially who the Sith were, right? Mm-hmm. They were all about kind of being harsh with each other to be stronger, right? It wasn't until there was a fallen Jedi, right? And maybe there was a handful. I wouldn't say there was one, but probably like a handful, because the Sith lived in a far off reach of the galaxy. And then they started conquering other worlds, right? And their home planet was a little bit kind of forgotten about for a long time.
Korriban. Yeah.
Right, Korriban. That's right. Yeah. Their home planet was forgotten about for a long time because they had went and conquered a bunch of other planets, and they spread themselves too thin. And it wasn't until, they had a couple of like empires that rose and fell, and they had a couple of emperors of their own. And it wasn't until I believe there were like a handful, just a few fallen Jedi that were part of the Jedi High Republic, and they first encountered the Sith race, and they interbred with them. And it wasn't until that happened that they took the name of the actual species, Sith, and turned it into a way of being. Like, we use the dark side of the Force for our own selfish means. So we are Sith. And that's where that correlation happened.
It looks like
that, Sith meant that particular redskin race.
It looks like it's a similar thing they're doing with the new canon, right? But I think what they've done is they changed a lot of the dates. and they've gone into it. They fleshed it out more than what was originally fleshed out. Because there's a fucking assload of. Probably shouldn't swear for things, but whatever. There's a friggin' assload of stuff compared to the Legends category. Like, there's a lot more comics that have probably come out and whatnot. Because there's constantly comics like being made for the new canon that I don't keep up with because like I don't know where the hell I'm gonna start. But they just gotta make trade paperbacks, man, because that's how I do comics these days.
Wait, so what are you saying? Like, there's more.
Go to Wikipedia and just look up Sith, and then you'll see it. Yeah.
But wait, no, just like that last part. You're saying that there's more stuff for Legends?
No, more stuff for the current canon is what it looks like to me.
Oh, I guess.
Getting a bunch of what's that?
Yeah, I'm getting some text messages. Hold on, I'm gonna.
No, you're good. And this will be a good way to segue into Ahsoka. So. It'd be great if like Wikipedia. Oh, there's a search. It's an atrocious website. Yeah. So.
Okay, hold on a sec.
As far as like the species of Sith goes, there's like way more fleshed out on the canon side than Legends. So. Yeah, so the term in the Legends category, it says right, the term Sith originally referred to a species of aliens native to the planets Korriban and Zyos, who were later enslaved and ruled by exiled Dark Jedi from the Galactic Republic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I said.
Well, I know. So, like, time frame, right? So, the Sith species began to coalesce as a society sometime prior to roughly 100,000 BBY, and then around 28,000 BBY, it says. I think that it looks like they were force sensitive though, in this.
They were always force sensitive.
This is so fucking convoluted, dude.
No, dude, it's not. It's very simple. All right, so what's the part that's confusing to you? They were always force sensitive. The Sith.
Okay. I
thought
you said that like the Jedi came, the Dark Jedi came, and then interbred with the guys, and then made force sensitive Sith. No. I thought that's what you're getting at.
No,
okay.
No. I said that at the very beginning. I said that they were always a force sensitive race. It wasn't until the fallen Jedi encountered them,
right,
and then interbred with them. So you had humans, and then the red-skinned race. And at the time, I remember that their empire was kind of falling apart, and there were very few of them. So they kind of needed to interbreed. But the idea of Sith, as we know today, wasn't created until that mixture of those two.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I get it. I would have to like read this like and actually like dive into it.
Right. So I mean that's I mean the Knights of the Old Republic, the old video game.
Yeah. But regardless, we've set that it's going to be like 25,000 BBY, not 1,000 BBY. So that was kind of like what set this whole thing off.
Right. So yeah, that kind
James Mangold, his movie High Republic, not High Republic. We are getting a High Republic series though on Disney Plus, I believe, at some point. But
yeah, I don't know if they're related or not. But yes, it goes back to James Mangold. I mean, that's his next big project outside, after Indiana Jones. I think it's great. Like I said, the guy's made hits nonstop. I mean, if you look at his IMDb, it's crazy. It's phenomenal. So I'm a big fan. And the fact that they're handing it over to him, I think he'll take care of it and do it properly. Thank God.
Because we need that, man. It's been like
yeah, to be honest. And I'm a fan of a lot of the Old Republic era stuff.
Me too.
We don't get a lot of that yeah, we don't get a whole lot of that, and I think a lot of the newer fans should be exposed to that, because unless you're a fan like me, or even a bigger Star Wars fan that's been reading like the expanded universe and all the books in between and the comics and then the video games that kind of expanded on this prior to Disney, you know, unless you're that kind of a fan, you don't really know how dope and how amazing the older era really is.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's taking that on and hopefully does a great job at it, I think is
I think it's like what I think is like, interesting about it is just like how like established everything was, the Jedi Order, and like how prolific they were, and like all this, like how deep they went into the galaxy. Whereas in the movies we know of, it's like they're already dead, they're dying, their order has been defeated. It's a very sad state of affairs, and like what we were supposed to get was Luke building it back up, but we never got that. So I guess we're now going to get Rey Skywalker doing that instead. So if you haven't heard about that, so Daisy Ridley signed back on for more Star Wars.
Yeah. I've heard. I know. I've heard.
So we'll fucking see how that goes. But definitely excited for that. I'm excited for the High Republic series that we're supposed to get. They just all, expanding the world, expanding the universe, in a live action format. I think is going to be pretty dope. And there's degrees of Star Wars and how good they are, but if it's still Star Wars, and I love it every time. So
I'm okay with. I hate the fact that she's a Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, just keep it as Palpatine and redeem the damn name, right? Or take a new one, Rey Sandwalker.
No. Wow, dude. Wow. I mean, it's pretty creative, but
not really.
It's funny though.
Well, because what was like Luke's original name supposed to be? Lucas had an idea for it, which became a Starkiller. Yeah, it was Luke Starkiller was his original name in the beginning.
Starkiller has a.
Well, yeah, it came back, but I'm pretty sure was like what he was going to be originally called. And then...
no, it's too.
What? No,
it's too dark. That's way too dark. Skywalker's great.
But yeah, that's why he changed it. But yeah, it was Luke Starkiller.
And honestly, I think.
Lucas apparently thought the original last name was too aggressive. There you go. So
that's what I literally just said that.
I'm affirming your opinion, my friend.
See, I know, man. I'm there. I'm there with Lucas. Way too aggressive. Skywalker is great, and just it has hints. And I know he was influenced by this, but it has hints of Native American naming conventions.
Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Right? Yeah.
He does take a lot from other cultures, and
it absolutely 100%. I would not be surprised if I went to a reservation. If there was no Star Wars, I would not be surprised if I went to a reservation somewhere and someone's last name was Skywalker. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they have these type of names. So yeah, man. So that's kind of cool. Lucas kind of throwing that in there.
So speaking of Star Wars, we have a little bit of news regarding Ahsoka. So for those who haven't heard, they are moving the release, and then keeping it in this slot. They're moving it to Tuesdays at 9 Eastern, so 6 p.m. West Coast time. It comes out next week, and they're doing a 2-episode premiere, and I think it's going to be huge.
It is going to be huge.
Yeah,
it's going to be massive. I'm more excited about this than The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Because I've been watching Ahsoka. I knew about Ahsoka for years. Ever since
Dave Filoni's baby. Yeah,
it has been. It's been Dave Filoni's baby since the Clone Wars. And then after that in Rebels.
So I think we're we're 13 years plus since Ahsoka has been
roughly about 13 to 15 years, I think.
Yeah, because the Clone Wars movie, cartoon movie, was like 08, I think, right? So
yeah, man, it was a long time. Yeah, it's early 2000s.
So, and that was, and he's also George Lucas's protege. He handpicked by Lucas to
under his wing.
Yeah, and by all reality, he should be the goddamn ruler of Lucasfilm, but
should be.
Get out of there, Kathleen.
There's this Kennedy person, that's making these weird decisions.
Yeah, sometimes they're okay, and sometimes they're really bad. So.
Mostly bad.
pretty bad. Yeah.
Mostly bad. Track record speaks for itself.
I mean, like what they did with the Kenobi series, kind of like was a little disappointing. Although
there was some good that, bits. What they did with the movie series, movie series, it's just like.
I mean, there's some good ones like Rogue One. Got to give it. Solo was good, not marketed well.
But all right. If you notice, Rogue One, they had Filoni as a consultant. So.
Well, don't they always have Lucas as a
consultant? So you
consultant?
Look at the pattern as far as why things worked out.
Yeah,
it's because they had the person that's always been, I mean, making gold for them. So,
and he actually gives a shit about the franchise. It's like it's dear to his heart.
He's a fanboy. He knows he knows everything. He knows everything. So he's the next best person. He's just carrying. He's the person that Lucas gave the torch to.
It's like the son Lucas never had.
He's carrying that torch. He's totally carrying the Star Wars torch, and he's doing it justice. So Rogue One worked because Filoni was a consultant in the film. So if you look at what's working, it has Filoni somewhere within the vicinity. Yeah. The biggest disrespect, the biggest fail was the fact that they went ahead and did episodes 7, 8, and 9, and not once did they have the 3 original characters from the movie on the same screen at the same fucking time.
Yeah, egregious.
All 3 movies, all this time, and they did not have Han, Luke, and Leia all together again.
Well, Carrie Fisher did pass away before they even could do that. I mean, they had a chance in the first 2, but they didn't. In the third one, they couldn't. Yeah, because they killed Han anyways. So,
people were dying on. They should have done that. They should have done that in episode 7.
Yeah.
Period.
It's like people. It's like, who cares about what people say about fan service? We want that. Give it to us.
But they lost their opportunity.
Yeah.
It's stupid. They lost their opportunity. They knew that these actors are getting older. I mean, that would have been my first focus. I'm sorry, JJ, but you fucking dropped the ball on this, man. Like, I'm very passionate about this because I love this, the story. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
But
that means a lot to both of us.
Episode 7, immediately, my first thing is I need to have a scene with all 3 of them in there. N3CPO and R2D2. They all need to be in one shot together.
3CPO?
I'm sorry. Don't nitpick me. You know what I'm fucking talking about. In any case, they missed their chance, man. It was that to me was the biggest smack in the face.
It was egregious, man. It was like No, it's just
no. So they lost their opportunity. They could never do that now. So
I mean, cartoons wouldn't even make sense, but it'd be the only way it would. But it wouldn't be them because it's not Harrison Ford. It's not. You need to have the original people, and that's now they're almost all gone. Besides Mark and Anthony, fucking Daniels, and because Kenny Baker. Oh god, my brain is fucked up. Peter Mayhew, Carrie Fisher, and then we just got Harrison Ford and Mark and Anthony. That's it. Besides some others, but I mean, as far as the core,
Yeah.
And time's a fickle beast. So, I love though that Mark is like very openly vocal about how his disappointment is like evident. But yeah, going back to Ahsoka, I think the character is super important to the franchise, and it's Dave Filoni's baby. Clone
Amazingly
Wars
important.
was very successful, and people hold like and Rebels too. I mean, this is also a Rebels continuation, so it's not just
Yes,
Clone
it
Wars;
is.
it's Rebels. It's basically Rebels season 5 or 6 or whatever 7. I don't remember.
Man,
Yeah,
it combines both Clone
yeah.
Wars and Rebels. Um,
And
and I
it's gonna go into some fucking cool shit with the lore and Jedi stuff, like the world between worlds or the space between
right,
worlds.
right,
Um,
and the Purgles.
and oh,
Um,
that yes, we got a cool glimpse of the Purgles in
I know.
Mandalorian, and we
Yes, they
saw
did.
very very cool. Um,
Yeah, and that's
and
nerd shit.
it is
That's
nerd
not.
shit.
That's very deep into Star
Yeah,
Wars lore.
because they're force sensitive whales that can traverse. Um,
They
right?
live in
Yeah.
hyperspace.
Yeah, not force
Yeah,
sensitive. They can use their bodies as hyperspace. Yeah,
right,
they can traverse the universe
right. And
without
Ezra
technology.
being a
I think they
very
are force sensitive
special
though.
and I'm sorry, what?
I think they might be for it. Am I wrong? Are the Purgles
They are.
force
They
connected?
are. They are in a way.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
reason for that is because, like I was going to say, Ezra being a very special and particular force sensitive young boy, he can communicate with them.
yeah.
You know, like you saw that in the series.
Well,
He
it's
can
like that's how it ends. They fuck off on the Purgles, and then they're. I think this Ahsoka series is like they're going to be looking for him in a sense, especially like Sabine. Sabine's
oh
been
no,
trying
they're
to
not.
find him. Okay,
Well. Let's slow down here. The
you're
real
gonna
person
slow
that they're
down.
looking for
It's Thrawn.
is Thrawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Sabine.
other Mickelson.
Sabine is. She misses Ezra, and Ezra sacrificed himself. We all know that. That's what happened at the end of Rebels.
Well, he doesn't die.
He sacrificed himself. No, he doesn't die, but he
Yeah.
sacrificed himself
Yeah.
because they disappeared to the
Yeah.
far reaches of the
But
universe.
so does Thrawn. So it's like wherever Thrawn went, Ezra probably
So
went.
Sabine has made peace with the fact that she might never see Ezra again. So in her way, she is grieving because, all right, to her, he's essentially metaphorically dead, and that's what I was getting to. So she's connected with Ezra in a different way because they had something going. So she might be yearning for that and looking for him and have hopes for that. But Ahsoka does not. Ahsoka is very particular and she is looking for the biggest threat, and that is fucking Thrawn. And to me, that should have been who was the villain for episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Oh, that would have been amazing. Yeah.
Okay. And the villains for episodes 7, 8, and 9 were fucking rehashed Palpatine because they dug him from the fucking grave.
Somehow Palpatine returned. They fly now.
Fucking ridiculous. All this retcon bullshit that they're doing.
Well, that's all Kathleen, right? So it's like
it's all Kathleen. And I'm like, dude, you have so much. Take a moment to read the fucking lore.
You also have Filoni who could just totally take the wheel and make you $1 billion every movie. And
it's like they didn't take the time to look into the lore,
respect
and give a shit about it.
Yeah.
But there is so much. There's so many other things that you can do other than fucking Palpatine. Whatever the fuck ever. To be honest, in the hierarchy of things, in the hierarchy of the Imperial villains, you have the top three. You have Palpatine, Vader, and then Thrawn. The fact that in the first 3 episodes, 4, 5, and 6, you have the Emperor and Vader, and they're gone. So it would only make sense that episode 7, 8, and 9 would have the guy that's next in line, which is fucking Thrawn. And everybody that's read the books was actually fucking expecting that. But no. We got who? Fucking Snoke that appears out of nowhere. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. Come on, man.
Oh, man.
Pisses me off, but whatever.
And then it turns out to be just a failed clone of Palpatine. So
it's like, yeah, it's just, you know, if you want to talk about convoluted, I mean,
but convoluted for like just like no point.
It's no point. There's no purpose to it, no reason for it. So
Wow.
Thrawn would have been great, but here comes Filoni, knowing, you know, what he knows and fixing things. Because yes, I mean the biggest threat to the rebellion is Thrawn. Period. So I'm glad that he's going back to that, man. So.
And Lars Mikkelsen looks great as Thrawn.
He looks great as Thrawn, and I think he'll do a great job as.
And I believe
didn't
he like who voiced Thrawn though in the was it him?
He did.
Did it him?
He did. Yes, he voiced Thrawn.
Let me see. No, I don't think he did, man.
Hold on a second.
Did he? I don't see it. What's him? Huh? No, it's still good. Never mind. Oh, he voiced it in Rebels. Okay.
Yeah, in Rebels. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I just not seeing it? Yeah, interesting. I don't see it on this list here. This list is stupid. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So I'm often wrong, kids.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, he did voice it. I do remember seeing his name on there. I mean, they changed a lot of these voice actors. So.
Yeah. I do like how they bring back them for live action, like Katie Sackhoff as.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Bo-Katan.
Yeah, Bo-Katan.
Yep.
Dude, I cannot think straight today. It's not happening.
Listen, you've been through a lot. I understand the food poisoning and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah,
I totally get it.
Yeah, last night was like a whole thing.
But
oh
no. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I lost my train of thought. But I am excited about Ahsoka. Yeah, man. I'm a huge fan, and yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of surprises he's going to throw in there. I think he's going to pull.
I hope we get some live action because we heard Anakin in the latest trailer. I do hope we get a live action shot of maybe a young Ahsoka with Hayden as Anakin Skywalker doing some training type stuff, which would be pretty fucking cool. Would it be necessary? I don't know. But I think what we do need to have a little bit of is some exposition for people who have not watched Clone Wars or Rebels, because there is a large Star Wars audience that hasn't watched those series, and those who are just faithful to the movies or casual viewers. So I think they need to tread that line carefully in order to bring in a wider audience and not just the fanboys and fangirls and them of Don't laugh. That was a serious comment. You fucker. Yeah, so that's my take on it. But I'm excited, man. I'm gonna watch it.
I totally get that. A large majority, so let's be honest here. A large majority of the audience are going to be fans familiar with Ahsoka. That's for sure. Now, there's going to be a bunch of other Star Wars fans that are going to watch it, but I think Dave Filoni has done a great job of introducing casual fans, bringing them into the world very seamlessly, and throwing in a bunch of these little fun facts and tidbits about
like little inside, like not jokes, but inside little comments that I get like the with Leo.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think he knows how to, tread that line where he can do a little bit of both, where he'll
Is
do it for the hardcore fans and for the casual fans as well.
is he directing this?
I think there's going to be a bunch of other directors. He's going to be overseeing. I think as a creator, that's enough for him.
He's got two, episode 1 and 5.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then we
That totally
have Steph Green, who I don't know who that is. Oh, he did an episode of Watchmen, Luke Cage, a bunch of other things, but like that's Man in the High Castle, Book of Boba Fett. He did one, and then we have Peter Ramsey, co-directed Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, nice.
What else we got? Did an episode of Mandalorian. Yeah. So, and then we have Jennifer Getzinger. So some like they do this with the other series too, like some unknowns come in and do these type of shows.
Mm-hmm.
We have one in Geeta Patel who's done like House of the Dragon, a bunch of other things, Mindy Project since 8, Runaways, and then Rick Famuyiwa. I don't know who that is.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Dope.
Rick,
He did Dope. Dope's a good one.
yeah, I know that guy. Guy. He's done a ton of episodes for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I see that here.
He's done some Boba Fett stuff. He's actually very good friends with both Robert Rodriguez and Dave Filoni. Black director. He's done some indie stuff, and I remember really getting to when I first saw him is when he did that movie Dope for Netflix.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. It's a great fucking movie. I love that movie so much. Like that movie flows really well.
Yeah,
always enjoy it. But yeah, man. So that's basically all I have to say about Ahsoka until we actually watch it. And I think next time we do one of these, we can go dive into it deeply on that.
So that's coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, we get the 2 episodes, right? Two episodes, and then we'll get one each week. But I think we're going into that Tuesday time slot, so not going to be the Wednesday one anymore.
Okay,
which is cool because I'm tired of like why do you have to like have it come out like at midnight? Like just release it during the day, you know.
I mean, it's kind of a standard thing that they're doing now, so I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that.
And I guess to kind of like wrap things up here, we can go into a little bit of news. There's not much because everything's on strike.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Billy. He might be watching. Oh no, we miss you, Billy. I know you can't be here. Not much of an update in regards to SAG, but I know that the Writers Union just sat down with the AMPTP after 102 days or something like that.
That's a very, very big update. Yeah. They're actually going back to the negotiation table.
Yes. For the first time since it went on strike. So,
which I think I think it's huge. And I love the fact that all the unions are relentless and they're like, no, fuck you. Fuck you, pay me. Like I get
quite literally like
fuck you, pay me. And I love that, and I love the fact that they're putting shit on the line. And if they think you can't do shit without these guys, the studios are nothing. The fact of the matter is this, and this is what I love: the power belongs to the people, right? So the writers and the actors, they create the content. Without it, you don't have a product. So they can continue creating content for themselves. Like they don't need the big studios. They can go completely independent and with amongst themselves can collaborate, put money together, which they can, and just continue creating shit. They really don't need the studios. The studios need them more than they need the studios. So the studios can sit on their ivory towers and talk shit all they want. But at the end of the day, if they're waiting for the actors and the writers to starve, They're not. It's going to be a losing game.
Right.
So I'm very, very happy about that.
Well, it's like kind of like I think it's cool of people like, you know, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck starting their own production company for artists, you know, to do their own stuff. I think that would be a cool world, sure, but do I also wish that maybe we can get our shit together with the studios and like make a better world for everybody? I think that's also important, but who knows how that's gonna look, right? Because the studios are fucking egregiously
Probably not. Probably
greedy.
not. I think right now, what's happening in the world.
Well, it's a bigger thing. It's not just it's like what Fran Drescher said. It's like this is indicative of a larger problem.
Oh, it's
going
huge.
on. Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. What I think right now is that there's a massive shift and things are not going to be the same as they used to be.
Billy just said interim agreements are key.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Things are not going to be the way that they used to be.
Well, they can't be because it's not sustainable. And like
the reason being is this. This is one of the biggest things. And it's a detail that a lot of people really don't pay attention to. When you think about studios are giant corporations. Giant corporations have what? Shareholders. What do shareholders care about? Single most important thing that shareholders care about is profit. They don't care what, how, who you have to steal from, what you have to do, who you have to murder. They care about profit, and they really don't care that much about the product as long as it makes profit.
Or the people making it.
So the combination of those two things just does not work anymore. And people are beginning to realize it. They're beginning to wake up from that, because collaborating with a studio, a corporate entity that has shareholders that only care about profit, does not go well, does not mix well with people that actually care about the content and care about other things surrounding that. So what's going to happen is this. I understand your sentiment about, you know, studios and the unions working together, but I think that this rift is showing a bigger issue, and that being the fact that, hey, I can't no longer work with you anymore. Yeah, you give me a good paycheck, but I'm an artist and I care more about my art more than I care about making you money. So you can find other ways of making money, but I'm always going to make dope shit and dope art and connect with my audience. So fuck off. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And I hope that the rest of the creative community wakes up to that and says, yeah, we're just going to do our own thing. We don't need shareholders. Fuck shareholders.
Right.
That is the single most important thing that fucks everything up.
But you're okay. So just to like go on to your point of view, like you as a producer, you know what it takes to budgets and stuff, and like how much money goes into these things, and like people need to be paid. So where does that come from if it's just coming from artists? Like, how do artists make sure they get paid without people that are giving money for it? That's what my question is to you.
So there's a couple of ways of approaching that, and it's in developing a new model, right? So if you suppose you get a bunch of like filmmakers together, and everyone decides to create a project, and we all pull our money into it, right? If we all pull our money into it, right, we're all essentially investors into this project, right? Once the project is completed, we choose however it is we want to distribute it, whether it's digitally, whether it's back to DVDs, whatever the case is. And we put it out to the masses, the audience. In order for the audience to experience what we've just created, they have to pay to do that, whatever price that is, $15, let's say, right? That's how we get our money back. Now, whether or not this project is successful or not dictates how much of it we get back. And that dictates whether or not it's a loss or a win for us.
Okay.
Right. And it's very, very simple. It does not necessarily have to be really that complicated.
Okay. But so question then. So that to me seems a bit inequitable for those who don't have money to begin with to be involved or pull their money together for projects. What about people who don't have the means, who are creatives, who are broke and need jobs? And if you don't have the money to pull in, how do you even get started in the business? That's like my question again. So
Of course, that's a little tricky, and it always kind of has to start with who's investing. It kind of starts with who's investing, because a lot of productions just cost a lot of money, right?
yeah.
They cost a lot of money, and that equates to the type of quality that you're getting. So I totally understand that. Like there were times where I was freelancing, I was broke, so I didn't have money to put in to begin with. But I can invest in other ways. I can invest in my time, right?
Fair.
So if
you're saying you don't like, I guess what I was thinking of, sorry to interrupt, but like I was thinking that you were saying, oh, you can only be involved in a project if you can pull in. But if you just invest your time, that's also a method of investing.
So, yeah, there's different ways. And again,
which we already do as filmmakers when we're getting started. We do a lot of free shit. So
right. Now again, there are models. What I'm saying is that we're smart enough to create a different model, right? And I'm just kind of I just literally pulled one like out of thin air.
Oh, yeah.
But there are models. There's a kind of a co-op model, which I kind of just described.
Yeah, which is like what Matt and Ben are doing, but they're rich examples of that. But yeah,
right. And there's a certain amount of equity that you should have. That trick that comes back to you. Because if you're an actor, or if you're a writer, or if you do hair and makeup, or if you're the stunt guy, or if you're the costume person, and you create something that's awesome, and it continues to generate people paying for that experience, you, as being part of that crew, should continuously keep getting paid for people enjoying that experience.
Right, which goes back to like residuals and stuff. Yeah.
Right, it's your art. It's your blood, sweat, and tears that went into putting your part of it into that. And if people are still paying to experience that, then you should still continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another thing too. Like with all these streaming services, what they don't do is you don't know who's watching it. They don't tell you demographics.
It's a black box.
Yeah,
right.
Like they know, but they don't say like okay, a series got canceled because it didn't have enough viewers, and you only hear if it's like, oh, it's 1 billion viewers when it's doing well or something like that. But when it's not doing well, you don't hear about it. So I think that's one of the main arguments too. Is like, well, how do we know? Like it was based on Nielsen ratings before, and now we don't know who's watching what.
And they can change that, and they can totally change that model.
They could. I think that's part of like what they're trying to get the studios to fix. So
right. And that's my point.
Yeah. I think like that's a good idea. I would love to see something like that in the future where I'm all about like taking means of production away from like the rich and the elite. It's kind of like
right exactly.
I'm not like a communist, but like I'm definitely not like ultra conservative. So it's like I can totally agree with that.
This is my view on it. Yeah. They've had their time. They've had over 100 years of cinema
and become inflated by corporate greed. It's basically what it is.
They've had all of them: Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount. They've had their chance. They've had a significant amount of time. Hold on a second.
No worries, you're good.
They've had a significant amount of time. So. And they're still operating in this old Hollywood type of way, with everything that's new and everything that's modern that's happening with all this technology, and it's very antiquated. And if they think that they can still operate in this way now, they're insane. They're losing it, man, because shit is changing. And I do want things to change, because the actors and the creators, they're starting to realize that they have more power than they've been led to believe.
Yeah,
they really do. We have more power than we've been led to believe. So we don't need them anymore. And I'm gonna keep saying this. It's the fucking shareholders that ruin all of it, that ruin the majority of the shit because it just trickles down.
Yeah. I think like one thing too, though, that's all I've talked about this a lot with you about the removal of the general public from those who create the art they consume, and how much they demonize those who create it because they believe that they're associated with money, and yet they're defending studios that have much more money than the creators they're demonizing. And I think there's a culture war going on within that, and I think there's a lot of it's probably manufactured by those in power to divide the general public from creators, and like it's Jon Stewart, right? I think I showed you that PowerPoint that I made for the SAG strike, and I showed Billy that too. Billy was gracious enough to give me a good quote. But I ended it basically by quoting Jon Stewart in his Mark Twain Award speech, where he says at the end, he's like, when a society is under threat, it's the comedians who get sent away first.
That's right. That's absolutely 100%.
So artists, comedians, like we're scapegoated.
Because comedians specifically, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah.
Comedians specifically, they always have the balls. They always have the balls to say the things that everybody else is afraid of, and the things that are a little taboo, and like, oh no, you shouldn't say that. Yeah. No, the comedians are the ones, they're the first ones up on stage in the front saying, oh, these motherfuckers over here. And you know who's a great example of that? George fucking Carlin.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. Yep. Man, George was good.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. Dude, I remember being a kid and being I shouldn't have been watching this.
Look who just popped in here.
Yeah, well, he wanted to chat. You want
to bring him in? Can you do that? I don't know how we do the layout.
I can totally bring him in. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Let's get a layout going.
Comedians got balls. Comedians got balls.
Billy Byra, hailing from New York City.
I can talk strike stuff. I can talk strike stuff. I can't talk about struck work.
All right.
Okay, good.
There he is.
I couldn't chat about a certain streaming show from a certain franchise.
Yeah.
But I can chat strike. I can talk strike shit.
It's all good, man. Glad to have you.
I had a family reunion thing. Boy, is my foot tired. Yeah. So I'm hanging in there. I'm high as shit on perks. So.
Hey man, it's all right.
That's how we need you.
I got my potions.
Ooh.
You know.
That's how we need you. Hey, listen, I've got my medication.
Well, he's got in the.
Once you're talking strike stuff, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah. Well, what better representation to have a SAG member here to talk about the strikes? So.
Yeah.
He's got the merch on his hat.
This is the fam. No, this is from the family.
Oh, okay.
The merch.
Yeah, he's got merch somewhere. Billy's got merch.
He's got merch. He's got shirts. He's got the shirts. There we
go. Yeah.
We got shirts. We got stickers.
I love it. And if people didn't notice, each one of those letters is from a very specific movie.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. So we got Back to the Future. What's the first E?
E.T.
I can't talk about struck work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I can say it though, right?
Sure.
So you got Rocky, RoboCop, Ninja Turtles, and then Raiders of the Lost Ark. So
there you go. Good work, Billy.
Yeah, I can't talk about what the answers are publicly.
That's all good.
DM's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say I shouted you out at the beginning. I said, "Well, Billy can't be here to talk publicly."
I was able to chime in, like right when you were wrapping up talking about a streaming show debuting in the next couple days.
Yeah,
that's right.
That I don't know which one you're talking about.
Right, I don't know either.
This is not me promoting it.
We can go back and rewind it. For the people viewing, you can go back and rewind it.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. I'm stressing that I'm not promoting it.
No. Billy is not here to
strike
talk
stuff,
about
but strike
that.
stuff. I can specifically talk about strike stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been a part of a lot of the last week. I was part of a Zoom with Duncan Crabtree Ireland, who's like the main one of the chief negotiators for SAG-AFTRA contract. He's the one that you see that's like the main like figurehead outside of Fran Drescher, who's actually the one bouncing back and forth from coast to coast at different marches and stuff to kind of and really answering all the questions. And I get to sit there and listen and get more elaboration on the interim agreement, which a lot of people keep calling them waivers. They're not waivers; they're interim agreements, and how they are actually beneficial and not like just and the ones that are for like things that are high budget networks, mostly they're done out of to complete them because they're shot internationally and had to halt production internationally, and then having to like fly people back in and out is like a big boon for all the production. So they understand that we have to kind of like finish and wrap those things up. Like you'll have certain like the that Apple Bible show or whatever, and the Game of Thrones spinoff thing.
Well, you can't say struck work.
It's not struck work. They have an, they're part of the internet.
Okay.
They're able to finish.
Are they? What? No way.
They're allowed to finish. Yes, because they're shot because it's shot internationally. They're allowed to. They have to finish.
Well, hey, that's good news for me because I can't wait for that fucking show to come out. So
I'm not promoting the show. I'm just
no.
It's allowed to be finished.
I'll promote it.
Right.
Because it's being shot internationally. It's like to have union members fly back and forth and stop production and then go there and kind of halt production would be that's like a complicated little teeny bit of the Venn diagram of the interim agreement. The interim agreements are great because they were talking with NATO, not the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the National Association of Theater Owners, because there's going to be a content drought. There's going to be a lot of because things are halting production. But movie theaters at no point has any of the unions said to boycott theaters, streaming services, anything like that. Still enjoy the work, especially theaters. Please continue to go to theaters. A24 has an interim agreement, so they're you could perfectly promote those works. Neon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why Ferrari's allowed to promote.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's from Neon. But those interim agreements, what they do now is like they all those productions agree to the terms that we're trying to get, like all the residual terms, the anti-AI, the everything that we're asking for in the new contract. Those independent productions are in agreement for. And if those people, a lot of people are questioning whether or not if those independent productions are bought up by streaming services or by big studios, they have to adhere to the rules of the interim agreement. So until the strike is complete. If the strike is complete, whatever the new terms are based on what that new contract is, then they have to abide by that. So you're probably not going to see those projects bought up by the streaming service or the studios until they get the deal they want, because otherwise they have to adhere to all the deals that we want right now. So like anything that comes out right now through A24, Neon, and other independent productions right now are all going to adhere to the demands that at least SAG-AFTRA is applying for and asking for right now as of now. Whatever the ultimate agreement we make with AMPTP, if those independent productions are bought up by the major studios or by a streaming service, whatever the terms of the new deal is, they have to go by that. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, so it's not like these random things, and it's all done in order of they were submitted. It's not about like order of importance. It's just first come, first serve. So like there's independent productions that have applied like right when the strike started immediately. So those ones, like it's first come, first serve. So the first ones that applied for an agreement got it first. So it's not like it doesn't matter what the budget is. It doesn't matter what specifically is. The only other ones that took priority were the ones that are in the middle of production internationally.
Like right. Yeah, I get that.
Just because they have to finish it up because it's shot internationally.
Right. Yeah. And not only that, but like the longer you're in production, that's just money. So
it's different rules. Almost like because it's because of international as opposed to being shot.
It makes sense because it's like it does inadvertently fuck over a lot of people outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. So that's what those are designed for. So when you hear those news, and also you got to take it with a grain of salt. A lot of the articles and stuff that come out of Hollywood Reporter and Variety, because they themselves have parent companies, which also own the studios. So some of them are also kind of a little bit propaganda machines that are trying to sway public opinion towards leaning towards the AMPTP. Like they'll put up these articles about how everyone's striking outside the studios. Oh, but it's ruining the restaurants outside. Oh God, think about the restaurant workers.
Yeah.
Well, think about the PR workers. The PR workers. If AI replaces us, you think there's going to be press release? You think a hard drive is going to be eating chicken wings to promote a project?
Right.
No.
They're going to lose money.
Jimmy Fallon's not going to play Pictionary with a robot.
Yeah.
Right. That's not going to happen. Right.
So they're all complaining about, oh, they're not doing this and the other. Well, of course. But if they get what they want, but thankfully, just recently there was a judge recently just ruled that work produced by artificial intelligence cannot be copywritten. So that's a big plus.
Interesting. I mean, I would hope so because it's not a fucking person, so it's
that's right.
Yeah. So therefore,
because it isn't an actual entity.
So if this happened maybe like in the last day or two, so if any screenwriting or anything writing was produced via artificial intelligence, it's fair game. It's not. That's
horrible. That's horrible for the studios because they want to own. They want to own.
That's been a huge win. It's not getting a lot of attention in the trades because that makes them look like shit. But a lot of AMPTP just hired like a PR firm to kind of make them try to not appear to look like Bond villains, but they'll
spend all this money defending it and not pay the actors.
100%. Yeah. But I mean, they're starting to cave a little bit on with the writers a little bit. They're actually sitting down with them. They've been slow. It's been slightly productive. It backfired a couple weeks ago. Every Friday there's been some sort of like a sit down.
Is there?
At least with the Writers Guild. I can't.
No SAG. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not SAG. Nothing yet. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they would deal with SAG first before the writers because that was
the script always comes first.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But otherwise, the actors don't have anything.
Well, I mean, they dealt with the directors, but I guess that was totally different.
That's the thing. They're all shit out of luck. So any news you see online where it pops up like, oh, casting news for this. Oh, they're rumored for this. Bullshit. Nothing's being cast right now.
Yeah, it's clickbait.
That's why James Gunn was on a hiring surge
frenzy
right before the actual we had a bit of a the contract ended on the 30th. We gave kind of a delay to the 12th, and then once they realized, oh wait, you were just doing that just to promote your fucking movies.
Yeah, well, like all this Blue Beetle stuff coming out, like I learned from you, Billy. It's like, oh, that's probably all filmed before the strikes.
Yeah, like a lot of those things now. You'll see with those promotional materials. Either they'll have some. They should have a disclaimer. So like I think certain productions, they'll say like, oh, they'll have like a little disclaimer filmed before the strike. There's other things they can use to promote it. They've been, since influencers are not doing it. There's different kind of interactive billboards. Viral things that they're trying to attempt to do. There was one for a recent animated film that came out. They got the viral video, the kid from the viral video who dressed up like a zombie and said, "I like turtles." They found him as like a 20-year-old.
Man, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
because for and
TMNT. Yeah.
which is okay.
Sorry.
No, but there's and I was also mentioning that, like, you have whenever you see, like, whenever something comes out digitally or on a DVD, there's like, there's on-set interviews, and you'll see, especially with animated or another film coming out recently, they're using images of them recording the dialogue for whatever they're doing, like in the booth. There's ways around. They've been trying to do it. I'm sure it's so hard to be vague. I'm doing so.
I can see the
Dude,
struggle.
You are hopscotching your way through.
I'm like. It feels like I'm on cocaine, but I'm totally not. It's I think what's going on.
This is great.
It's more so me muttering, and I already mutter and mumble and ramble like a motherfucker.
Oh, me too, man. I get
but
it.
it's just, but now it's trying to self-censoring.
Because
titles,
like the brain tries to spit out words faster than it can think them, and it's
that's
like
how I am. That's how I am anyway.
For the first time,
That's me too.
Billy, for the first time, you're actually filtering yourself. So
it's amazing, isn't it? It's fucking spectacular.
Oh, man.
Man.
But when I'm regards to strike stuff and talking in that vein, I could refer to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's good to have you. It's good to have you on, man.
And I could talk about non-struck work,
yeah.
stuff that was. I could talk about stuff that was not produced under AMPTP. Just like yesterday was August 18th, 2023. August 18th, 1973 is the day the Texas Chainsaw Massacre took place. Not produced under the AMPTP.
Oh man.
So there are little
those caveats.
Encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah.
Sure. There's all sorts of there's I could talk about non-struck stuff and like stuff that wasn't produced under an AMPTP contract. Certain independent films that were not produced under that, I can completely do with that.
Okay.
Anything A24, anything Neon, and because they all completely agreed. And that's the whole thing about with the interim agreement with them. It's a negotiation tool to say, like, look, these independent companies are willing. These companies have dick. They make zero money, and they're willing to adhere to that little 2% to actually to pay proper residuals to this.
Is that what it is? It's 2%.
That's all we're asking for, really. It's 2% of the profits.
What is it now? Like 0.00005%?
Even less. Like that? I'm trying to boot up right now to show if I can show you this. I have a SAG residual.
Guys, I'm gonna take a little pee break.
Where is this?
Okay. I was holding mine in, man.
This is the most. This is very disgusting.
I know. Yeah.
No, not you're peeing.
Can we see it? We can see it. Go right a little bit.
Negative 12
cents. Yeah.
Negative
12 cents.
Negative 12-cent residuals. It cost me money.
How does it cost you money to get a residual?
I don't know.
So you had to pay them a residual?
Apparently, I have to pay them a dime for a TV show that I was on to air in Germany or whatever the fuck.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So like there's all sorts of these residuals that are just dog shit that I'm gonna.
So that's like an app you guys get for tracking?
Well, it's our union app, and like I instead of you can, as opposed to getting physical checks, you can sign up for direct deposit. So I'll get
well, I saw the one from like I'm sure you saw it from the American Horror Story or Orange.
It's a scam production. Do not pay no attention. This new one coming up. Fuck them. It was written with scab writers, scab actors.
No. I was getting at not gonna name it at all, but there was
you can do everything.
I think it was like Orange is the New Black. One of the actresses showed her residuals.
Amigo Glenn got
yes. It was like 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent.
She's in 40 episodes, And and it's just okay. And this is 0 cents, zero, a couple cents, this and the other. So for 40 episodes, there's like 3 sheets of paper, and only came out to $27.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
see, it's talking about strike stuff. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying this is what she worked on. This is it's a factual a thing is I'm allowed to mention.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all that.
You're fucking telling me.
Oops, I'm here.
Oh, just me now. But yeah, that's so yeah. There's I mean that's a lot of people are coming clean with some of the residuals. There's a lot of places that there's a lot of writers from the Disney Channel for Disney Channel who come up about saying how like they would dick over the writers there, where like after they would be promised a raise after the 3rd season of a show, but like they would change the title. They would change the title of the show. They would change the title of the show, so it would technically be a whole other show. So they dick them out of the money.
Yeah, like Sweet Life on Deck.
Lawyerly loophole. They
Zack and Cody, Sweet Life on Deck, or other shows like that. Yeah,
yeah. So they would dick them over, and that could have been
my turn to go use the bathroom. So I'll be back, guys.
Go for it. Go for it. So yeah, it's a lot. Like I can privately I can yammer them on all I want. In a public setting as such as this, I can only talk about projects in a striking capacity.
Right.
So that's why I was very hesitant to even be a part of anything moving forward with you guys. I love you guys. I spoke to my manager about it, and he was like, "Yeah, don't do shit." But talking about strike stuff, especially helping you guys out because you guys are not. We're
not in the know.
And even though I'm not physically capable because of my injury to actually be on the picket line,
right?
Because I can't walk up and down the street.
Of course.
And I can't get to this. I can't go. The subways are not handicap accessible. I'm finally starting physical therapy on Monday. Okay, thank God. But I'm still been. Whenever they provide web seminars and like Zoom webinars and stuff, giving people the proper information they need to hear. So it's like there was a lot. They have Q&As and stuff. A lot of them are like,
"Oh, you froze out." Oh no! I think we lost you. Oh, damn it. We lost you, Billy. Hold on a second. Sorry, folks. Just hang with us. I lost 2 of my co-hosts. Trying to get him back.
Oh man, what happened? We lost Billy.
Yeah, we lost Billy. Hey man,
I think your connection might be a little bit messed up there, bud. You are slow. Am I slow? Am I choppy? Yours is very meshed up. Taking a pause break, people. We got some connection problems. We will resume. How do we pause? I don't know. I'm just here. You can watch me eat.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's I think you're lagging a lot. Yeah. Oh, it's just me.
Yeah, I just turned my camera off. That's all.
You're warbly. Like your mic is very like Like your connections or something's not great. So.
Darn it. Okay. I'm not streaming anything, so that kind of sucks. Let's see something here. I'm gonna try to.
Okay, I put my. Oh no, it's still gone. Man, it's weird. If you put like Billy had that thing too, so it's like if you adjust automatically, it should go normal.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, it's better. Whatever you did is better.
Okay. Yeah, just give me a sec.
You sound great now. What happened with Byra?
His computer shut down. I guess it ran out of battery.
Poor guy. Didn't charge his shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think your picture's lagging, but your audio sounds fine.
This is pretty strange. Oh, I see what's happening. All right, I'm gonna come back.
All right.
Just give me a little bit.
Well, it's just me now, guys. I'm just chilling. Welcome to the show of Nicholas in his room, his studio. I would show you what it looks like, but it's very messy. So, anyways, we got some. What are we eating here? Crunch Master multi-seed, crunchy baked rice crackers. Really good, really fucking good. I've been eating this whole damn thing. And I've got 4 drinks here. Got the electrolytes because I had food or still have food poisoning. My water for the hydration. The Red Bull, which is almost done for the waking up. And then my Ginny Gin, which is almost empty. Salute. Well, this is fun. I play you guitar, but I don't feel like it. So I think we should just maybe. How do we pause this? Oh no, me figuring things out. I'll just remove.
Hey.
He's back.
Okay, yeah. So my computer was doing a weird thing with the battery. It was like a weird battery setting. It was very strange.
Well, like was it low power mode or something?
Well, it wasn't on low power mode. It was plugged in, but it wasn't charging. So this entire time, it wasn't charging my battery. It was just pulling energy, but then it started to act like the battery was failing. So it was just a weird, very weird situation.
Yeah. He's still a little laggy, man. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think it might just be the setting.
Yeah. But I think we could probably like wrap it up anyways, right? I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Yeah. My computer's just acting weird right now.
It's all good. We went through pretty much all of it. We got the couple reviews done. We got the Soka hype. We got the strike update. We got Billy came in and gave us his perspective. And oh, there he's back. Never mind. We're not wrapping it up.
Well, my computer is gonna need a break, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I think we can call it. Billy, I think we can get Billy in here for the wrap up here.
Yeah,
he's got the fucking he's got the like the 2000 Kelvin going. Oh, there he's got.
They're on to me.
Ellison's got.
I will not be silenced.
He's got Ellison's having issues with his connection.
That's weird. That's great. Yeah, my computer just shut down.
Yeah.
I was just before you guys, like I got home around like just before 9 o'clock my time, like so right when you guys were starting, and I got a message from a friend on the West Coast. I do an online game show with them every couple of weeks or so. It's a random dumb funny paying gig that I do. So it's like, all right, yeah, I'll jump on there and just earn some quick dough. And so I was on there for about a little over an hour, and then I jumped right on you guys, and then you happened to be perfectly transitioning into strike chat, and I was like, oh.
Nice, yeah.
You know, I'm sorry if I interrupted y'all because I know this is the Ellison comeback.
Well, it's a comeback, but barely. It's like he's lagging like a motherfucker over here. So
yeah,
my thing just straight up shut down, which was like it wasn't even like the internet kicked out. It was just literally like my computer's like, shut down.
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
No.
Well, listen, I got to jump off, man. I got to give my computer a rest.
Yeah, I guess mine too. So, but yeah, thanks for having me. Right. So, anything you want, any strike talk stuff, I'm here to answer any questions. Give you any update on anything in that regards. Any other stuff you want to chat privately about and nerd out about? Let's rack. But yeah, publicly, I can give you guys as many updates as to what's going on this front to give you guys an insight, because I know you guys are hypothesizing and have your opinions on it, which I love. Your guys are super supportive about it because you're also, in the thick of it, on the cusp and wanting to join in. But yeah, so thank you guys for having me again. And
thanks, Billy.
Interrupt your chat.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
good.
We appreciate you coming on, man. We wanted you to be here anyways, and we were thinking that you wouldn't because you have all this restrictions that you can't talk about. So thanks for coming in and giving us that update.
Strike stuff, I'm okay. Yeah. So anytime you give me the okay for that, I can chime back in and.
Right on. Well, we'll try to do this again. Maybe before I come out there to New York City, and then we can do.
You're coming out here. What was it? The 12th, 13th, whatever, right?
Yeah, I'll be there 2 days. So.
Okay, right. Yeah.
All right, guys. This has been Cinemana, season 3, episode 1, and we'll see you guys maybe in a few weeks. All right.
Peace.